So,
but you don't gravitate toward one favorite overall dessert dish or one particular flavor that just triggers you overall. And it's like,
yeah, there are. Like I said, I don't know if there's anything Canadian specific. Like, do Canadians have their own shit besides maple syrup?
Say that.
Maple everything.
Yeah, just
poutine.
You put maple in everything.
The maple bukkake. You ever had a maple bukkake?
You should look that up, listeners. Welcome back to Rapid Troop Sucks, where you're going to learn a lot of things on the streets, on the streaming streets of these pseudo radio waves.
Yeah, if you ever find yourself in Montreal, ask for the maple bukkake.
Yeah,
you should specifically ask for Jeremy with that.
We're bringing a new meaning to the stream here.
Yeah. We are a podcast about obscure, forgotten about, and often overlooked films. And, finding your way down the maple trail, as Jeremy might say, maybe got you here. And as always, I am Paul. Next to me is Paladin Mike.
Oh, hey.
There is La-Mar.
hello.
There is Jeremy.
Greetings.
And there is Collin.
Hi.
And he is just surrounded with bananas.
So many bananas. They're just dangling all over the place.
He's got them banana hands.
Yeah, wow.
That's bananas.
We're getting at you this month, January, with two 1985 films. And we're not going to do 1985, just everything. But, as we talked about, there's going to be a lot of 40th anniversaries. And we kicked off the month with Real Genius. Now we're looking at Fletch, 1985. This movie is awesome. I'm not going to hide away or shy away from that fact. One of the reasons we decided to do this movie, it's Paladin Mike's B-Day coming up, and we need to get him liquored up and in the Fletch season. So 1985 40th anniversary. While working undercover, wisecracking newspaper reporter Irwin Fletcher is offered a large sum by a millionaire with a terminal disease to kill him. Intrigued, Fletch decides to unearth the full story behind the offer. Jeez, wow. Tongue-tied.
That's like the longest IMDb summary that you've read.
I know. I think I loaded it up and I was like, oh, wow.
It's just the whole movie.
I just have to start looking at stuff. Yeah. So the novel is by Gregory MacDonald, and I noted that he has 9 Fletch novels out there, and then there's offshoots like Son of Fletch and various other things. This author was apparently very popular. I have not read any of these books. But
Has anybody? Have you guys? Any of you guys read these books?
My father read the books, and I want to say Mike did yours.
Oh, probably.
I want to say at some point in time, weirdly, Mike was like, I think my dad also read one of those books. I was like, yeah.
It's definitely up his alley. I'm surprised you haven't, to be honest.
Me?
Yeah.
I would love to read one of these books at some point in time. I also am surprised.
I would be kind of interested to see how the comedic timing carries over from film to novel.
So we took a quick break while watching this movie, and I cannot remember for the life of me. I didn't see it in any kind of quick IMDb trivia. I just feel I read this somewhere where the author, again, Gregory MacDonald, I was under the impression somewhere in the 80s that when this movie was being made, he's like, you've got to get Chevy Chase. I feel he was very much
perfectly cast, yeah.
Yeah, that's the guy for this role. So I too, Jeremy, I'm very curious about this. He won back-to-back Edgar Allan Poe awards. Collin, were you just joking that they're called the Edgars, or is that?
No, I mean, that's what Wikipedia says.
Wikipedia, you son of a bitch.
They got us again.
But apparently no one's won this award back-to-back, and he did it with his first 2 Fletch novels. No one's won consistently like that. So I thought that was pretty cool. So these are very well-received
What
books.
is the Edgar Allan Poe Award for?
Being awesome.
Being an alcoholic weirdo.
There you go.
Mystery writers.
Oh, okay. I guess that tracks.
Okay.
Yeah, and now it ties back to Mike's favorite movie, The Crow.
Yeah. Guys,
go.
what if Chevy Chase was the Crow?
It would be amazing, and I think you would really like it.
It probably would have been watchable.
Dr. Rosenpenis on a rooftop.
Absolutely. I would enjoy it more.
This movie for me is a lot of fun. You get Michael Ritchie, who is the director. We have seen before The Golden Child. Heck yeah. He's also done The Island, Bad News Bears in '76. So you get a lot of fun people right there.
There's another connection that I didn't even know. He did Wildcats.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I looked that up
RTS.
like, wow, that's another RTS connection.
You know what? I think we actually said that before when we did the Golden Child.
yeah,
We're like,
exactly.
I think it was Mike who was like, he did Wildcats. Poor Michael Ritchie. Rest in peace, 2001. Only at 62 years old. Yeah, he's done a lot of cool movies. Yeah, Gregory McDonald, noted one of the writers. Andrew Bergman, another screenplay writer for this, also did Striptease. And then we get Philip Alden Robinson, who did Field of Dreams screenplay and uncredited for Sneakers.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, we're getting some peeps that we're probably going to revisit even throughout this year because things have been said.
Peeps.
You got to get some peeps.
Things have been said.
But Jeremy, I have to assume I've seen this movie with you. You've seen this movie, correct?
I have seen this movie, but it's been a
Okay.
long time.
Collin had not seen this movie. I'm pretty sure at some point I've seen this with Jeremy, like in the mix. And then later, like I watched this movie at a regular basis. I do want to give a shout out to a friend of both Jeremy and I's, Mike Ferraro. Huge fan of Fletch. I used to watch Fletch with him on a regular basis. Him and I have probably logged this movie. Honestly, like he had visited Denver a couple times. When I'd go back to Missouri and see him, I would probably say I've seen it, I don't know, at least 20 times with him. So
You can buy this movie on Amazon
Yeah.
for $5 right now.
it's amazing.
Damn.
Well, Mike, not Paladin Mike, but other Mike, if you're ever listening to this, shout out to you. A lot of Fletch quotes coming up. But yeah, we used to just like put this movie on repeat and go to bed.
I like that. I
Cuddle up
got
next to each other and watch some Fletch.
That's how you do it.
I got a question for, well, maybe it's not a big question, but I got a question for the Paladin Mike that's here.
Oh.
This sounds like a recommendation from you that we do this on your kind of near birthday-ish. Is there a particular reason why you gravitated toward this movie? This feels like a Mike recommendation for the podcast.
I mean, I love this movie. This was not my request. Paul told me that we were doing this movie for my birthday. I was not upset about it.
all right.
On the turntables.
But I was not involved in the decision.
All right. Well, you like the decision, though, right?
I'm happy with the decision.
We started going through
I co-signed this
85 movies that were like, okay. And although for Mike and I, this is not a Paladin Mike and I, this is not a rare or obscure film. Clearly, Jeremy has not seen this in ages, and Collin had not seen it at all. So it does fit the bill to an extent. But I do feel if you're into comedies in the 80s, people are like, yeah, of course, Fletch. But I was like, who the hell cares? This is close enough to Mike's birthday.
Yeah.
And we're doing 40th anniversaries. If it's in a gray area, enough. Fletch,
yeah.
let's do it.
Well, and also, I mean, you could make, using RTS logic, which is loose, you could make the argument that this is kind of like an underappreciated movie.
Yeah. We did Batman by fucking Tim Burton. So.
Well, also, like, I mean, probably most people that are a lot younger than us have not seen this movie. No one in this, we all like Fletch, and no one in this room except for myself has seen the remake. So, like, it's clearly not a
There's a remake?
With John Hamm.
Yeah, with John Hamm. It came out like 2 years ago.
It's not a remake. It's
fucking
just
no idea.
It's one of the other books.
Yeah, it's one of the other stories.
Wow.
It's pretty good. Pretty
So
good.
there are 3 Fletch movies. There's Fletch Lives, and then there's Confess Fletch. I believe this is the John Hamm one.
Correct.
Yeah. So, I have not. I would like to see that at some point in time.
Yeah, so just like the Fletch universe is kind of obscured even from this group.
And
you
again,
could
I'm
say.
still going to argue, Jeremy's like, we did Batman, Tim Burton. And yes, all of us had seen it. But still, again, there's so many people. It depends on the age and demographic. But I was very open about that one. Like, I do feel Fletch fits our bill more than Batman. Like, clearly, duh.
Absolutely.
But I do feel, again, when you're looking at movies that are now hitting like 35 plus years old, it's like, well, there's so many other Batman films out now, coming out, various other things. Like, your demographic's going to be like, you really have to be like, oh, do I want to see movies that came out like 15 to 20 years before I was born? And think about, most of us do not, even in this room. Like, Mike has even noted, like, we were watching a 70s movie for this, and he's like, I really don't like going to that time frame. And I get it. Like, and I agreed at that time, but we both like the movie. So there are gems we like, but I think no matter what age you are, it's like, oh, do I want to go so far beyond when I was born? Because there's something, I don't know, comforting or whatever about those films. Unless you're like a history buff or like, you're doing this for some kind of class or something. But
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, I do feel Fletch is a lot. Like, I never hear anyone talk about these books, even though they were celebrated. Like, I do hear about.
I didn't even know they were books.
Yeah, Son of Fletch, as I said, like there's offshoots by the same writer, and I guess they did well. So
did he also write Son of the Mask?
He did secretively.
Okay. Yeah. Not to derail this too far, at my office Christmas party a couple weeks back, I was talking to one of the dudes I think he's like 30, 31. He asked what episode we did for Christmas, and I told him Gremlins, and he had never seen Gremlins. A guy in his early 30s, never seen Gremlins, and he's a big nerd too. So I think we're onto something.
Yeah,
if this guy's listening,
yeah,
you're a big nerd.
I don't think he listens.
Can you show him the bright light?
Yeah.
On the same vein,
He
I have
owns a
a
bright light.
friend
Right.
who I talk to regularly, who I've known him for maybe over 30 years. Shout out to Jeremiah. There you go. He has not seen Gremlins until I mentioned it to him the other day on just our call. And
Since it came out, you said since
it came out,
so for 40 years. He has not
40
seen
years.
That's
He's probably seen it in the 90s, maybe once, but since then, I want to say like a 20, 30 year break from that movie. And then I mentioned it to him, and then he went back and saw it. That's amazing.
That's wild. It seems like he would have seen Gremlins.
I think he's seen it when it came out,
Okay. But it's not like part of his
no,
Okay.
not at all.
in 40 years.
Yeah,
It's still like
that's incredible to do that. I feel that way with this movie here, Fletch. I've seen it with you, Paul. Maybe what 6, 7, 8 years ago on a stream.
Jeremy gets on like chat roulette's equivalent to today's age and dresses up as Gizmo.
That's right.
Well, it's been a while since I've seen this movie as well.
Very surprised.
People don't love it.
They love it. They love it in ways.
They love it on camera while looking at Jeremy dressed as Gizmo.
Oh my!
They mail me wet socks.
They do. I believe that.
Is that a way to like trick the post office? Like you mail them like soaking wet, but by the time it gets to you, you're like, "What is this? Like, why is the weight so
it's
different?"
It's dry and stiff then.
It's dry and stiff.
Shout out to my OnlyFans, The Stiffs Dossier.
Yeah,
Feel free to hit subscribe
That's
on
right.
that.
yeah.
There you go.
I told you,
Right.
what do we get? Like 10, 15%?
I'll cut you guys in. I'll give you a little action.
I came up with the title. Come on.
Sam doesn't get any action, but I get
Yeah, what
some.
percentage is the title seeker?
Well, just like the Stiffs dossier, we get Irwin M. Fletcher, who is a newspaper reporter, and he is trying to bust this drug trade that's going on this local beach. And he basically highlights with some narratives. I didn't really mind the narratives in this movie. It's like...
I know I'm the biggest hater of narratives. When it's being narrated by the main character is kind of like internal monologue, and it's funny, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I think the sense of humor kind of drives it forward. And it's also like, we've kind of noted like it doesn't always work sporadically. It's like more jarring when it comes back. But yeah, he makes jokes sometimes to himself, but it does push the story along. He's like, basically, if I just don't give a shit about anything and look dirty, I could just blend in on a beach. And he kind of tells you that as he's doing those things. And that's really enough to get going in the story, right?
I kind of took it as like, this is what he's writing for his column.
Yeah, totally. And I was like, okay.
Not just like a random old man or child narrating something for no discernible reason. Like most
I
other
will
movies
say
we
this.
watch.
So he is reporting a story about drugs being sold on the beach, and this beach looks pretty fucking deserted.
Yeah, this beach is fucking gross.
I would have selected a different beach.
This drug's where it's happening. Or this beach.
Yeah.
Drug Central.
Yeah, who are they selling like the 5 fucking
I don't
people
know.
on the beach?
Fat salmon gummy.
Well, like, I guess I didn't. This is L.A., right? It would have to be. Yeah, I didn't visit L.A. in the early '80s, but this is like the beach equivalent of like the garbage can district from Judgment Night. Like it's gross. There's no one here.
Judgment Night.
I don't know. Like I picture L.A. beaches as being full of like weightlifters and babes and.
Yeah, this one was
The
not
beach
so.
up the street. This
is the lame.
This is where you get
It's
the
the
drugs.
homeless
That's
people
the
beach like they have their
steroid
own beach.
This is the crack beach.
Oh, I
Yeah,
see.
this
Okay.
is where you get the drugs, and then you go up to the beaches that you're talking about.
But I mean,
That
if
makes
you're
sense.
looking for a beach, no lines, easy place to find a place to put your towel down.
Yeah,
Is that a
this beach
euphemism?
has got it.
Like you, Mike,
Yes.
I've never been to the LA beaches. I don't know how it's done there, but I'm assuming that along the beach, there's parts where it's like sunny and there's like a bunch of bikini clad babes.
Well, that's what I want.
And then there's a
LA
certain
beaches
part
are
where
huge.
there's a part where you can go get your drugs, and it's like nobody there, and it's like overcast and dark.
Well, yeah,
that's this place.
He only ever went to the beach when it was overcast. It was never nice out.
That too. I that's why I brought it up.
Like the 3 days a year that it sucks in LA, that's what we're watching.
Yeah, they caught the bad
Like a
part of the beach
discount on
on this
filming.
movie.
Yeah, exactly. Like even with Chevy Chase, you can't film on the nice days. It's too busy.
And I told you guys before, if it's going to be Judgment Night, got to fly a Judgment Kite.
Have you said that before?
I've heard that. Yeah.
I've been trying to tell you all along.
You know, I finally just clicked. You've been telling me all year. Saw it coming.
Hmm.
The pictures and videos I was sending Collin all
Okay.
along were not clicking.
Business idea. Judgment Kites. TM. We got Cubes. We got Estevez. Their faces on the kites.
Dude, people are going to know it too. Someone's going to point out, Judgment Kite.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
Dennis Leary on the kite.
Yeah, so
Yeah. Sam.
we could
Is that
talk
the guy's
about
name? Norm?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Fat Sam.
Norm is Fat Sam.
We could talk about kind of the ordering of what happens to Fletch, but I don't care if we like really break the mystery like early on.
Oh yeah, spoilers ahead. If you haven't seen this movie, watch it first.
Yeah, and that's kind of the fun part. And I do want to say that like you should note spoiler. Like the best part of Fletch for me is how it's a comedy interwoven with an actual mystery of what's happening.
Yeah.
And that's like the best part. Like this is why it's so rewatchable for me, because like you've got like a real story going on, but you've also got, as noted, this wisecracking dude who is really good at his job and just puts himself into some really zany situations. So the craziness is so Fletch is approached on the beach. And this guy, Alan Stanwyk, is like, I want to hire you. I'm going to give you $1,000 just to come to my house. And I've noted, like, Fletch is like, yeah, my name's Ted Nugent, and I'm not going to dress like a little Bo Peep, and I'm not into this stuff. Like, he's already, like, saying weird stuff. Part of it, the shtick for Alan Stanwyk is to kind of give him the impression that he's really, like a junkie. He's just saying, like, random shit. And that's what Alan Stanwyk does want to hear. The gist is like Alan Stanwyk's like, listen, I have like terminal bone cancer and it's going to get really progressively worse and quickly. And I thought about suicide and I thought about other ways to end my life. But if I do that, we're not going to get like this huge like health insurance payout. So if you come and kill me, I'll pay you. You'll get like away and my family will get paid off. So that's kind of it. He does not know Fletch is a reporter. And so the nuts thing is like this whole story is just bad luck for this dude. Like, out of all the guys he approached on this beach, it's Fletch. Like, that's such like a weird part to the story for me, which pays off. Like, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but like really at its core, this dude, the villain, just has total shit luck.
I mean, you can say that he has bad luck, and maybe, but if you're looking at a beach of junkies and you pick the only like healthy looking person there.
True.
Sure, but I'm like, whoops, you just picked the reporter who's not a junkie.
But also, like, he didn't pick Fat Sam or
He thought about it.
or Gummy
He
or
thought about it.
There's
Goatee Guy.
There's a good reason why.
In all honesty,
There is a good reason why. But like,
Chevy Chase had a fucking Lakers jersey with a jacket on.
right, yeah. Like,
Who else are you gonna pick?
Of all the people that he picked, he's like, this well put together, healthy looking person. That's who I want. I mean, from like, again, I know the plot of the movie, but from an objective eye, like, Chevy Chase does not look like a junkie in this scene.
But he doesn't really need a junkie. Remember, he just needs someone who's basically his height.
Well, he does, and we find that out later. But like, he's at the beach looking for someone who's not going to be missed, basically.
Disposable.
Right.
Yeah.
And he picks the only person there who looks like a real healthy member of society.
And his actions on the beach don't really solicit that he's really a junkie.
Right.
Like, he blends in kind of, but just the way he acts in comparison to Gummy and
100%.
Fat Sam,
Yeah.
like, he's totally not a junkie.
There's not 4 junkies in LA. He should have tried.
My long-winded point is like, it was a little bad luck, but it was a pretty big bad decision on his part.
Oh, sure.
Well, I mean, there's not a lot of people on this beach, so he didn't have a lot of choice.
That's
He should
true.
have looked at another goddamn beach.
Yeah,
Basically.
he could have kept going.
He went to the wrong beach.
And just remember, like, Fletch hasn't been there forever, and he's like, "Oh, I've been watching you for like 3 weeks." Like, Fletch has been there for like
You're right.
a
All
month.
3 weeks you've been here, I've been watching.
Like, terrible timing, Stanwyk.
Yeah.
I was here for 4 months, and all of the junkies looked too cracked out until you showed up.
Yeah.
And I thought, perfect.
I like when they roll up to Stanwyk's house and Chevy Chase is already like getting into a shtick. He's like, "Oh, I almost bought this house, but then I found out Hopalong Cassidy killed himself. Crazy bow and arrow accident." Very strange. He's like, "Are you doped up already?" He's like, "Don't talk to me like that, ass face. I don't work for you yet."
Yeah. Good start.
Right.
Walks past one of the maids. She's like, "Oh, buenos dias," and Chevy Chase says, "Pup and taco."
What does that mean exactly?
Yeah.
I don't exactly.
It sounds like a taco restaurant.
Yeah, I would eat there.
So this is where Stanwyk notes. He's like, "I want you to kill me. I'll give you $50,000. You'll get tickets to Rio. You'll just fly out there, live there for at least a year." And
Do you think 50 grand would last you for a year in Rio? And then at the end of that year, what do you do?
sure.
then?
Jeremy, no, I was thinking about that. I don't think. I don't
think
know.
a year. Oh my God, like mid 80s. I think 50K would very comfortably get you through 2 years.
I mean, 50K
Rio-
was probably
Rio de Janeiro.
Sure.
in America in the 80s, 50K was probably a decent salary.
Yeah.
I would imagine you could probably.
I mean, are
spend
you
a
going to be
quarter
living
of
in
that.
like the favelas there?
Nah, you live very,
It's all
very
for
low
those.
key. Low
What are you
key.
talking about, guys? Like you probably could have a more cush lifestyle. I'm just saying for like 2 years. You are living at some probably resorts and you're eating like awesome food. Like Jeremy's question, what do you do at the end of that when you have zero money? You're screwed. Like that, like that guy bought you a 2-year vacation, but he did not set you up for life or anything.
Yeah,
but I think you live super comfortably there for 2 years.
You could probably have some left over too, and make a not a good living, but just have some left over for just a fun time.
Come back to America and eat at Applebee's. Boom.
There you go.
Applebee's twice.
Not to backtrack too hard,
Okay. We barely started the movie, so we can't go back that far.
but Pup and Taco
Pub and Taco.
is a restaurant chain in Southern California that
Is it?
served hot dogs, tacos, and pastrami sandwiches.
Shit. That sounds
That's the
great.
perfect trio.
Did they exist before or after this movie?
Way before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It pup like
Pup, like a
a
young dog.
like a hot dog pup.
The letter
Nice.
N.
Okay.
Was an
Tacos.
apostrophe taco. Yeah.
Strong.
Yeah. I'm surprised they're not still around.
I thought it was Poppin' Taco. Like in Colorado and probably other places as well, it's very popular to name your taco restaurant in some kind of like sexually charged vagina forward way.
Sure, some
There
kind
you
of
go.
pun.
Yeah, like, I mean, just off the top of my head, in the
meat
past
boat.
2 days, I think I've driven past a Pink Tacos and a Fuzzy Tacos. So we're not holding back. I thought like Poppin' Tacos was like
Yeah.
you're popping that taco. Okay.
Yeah, you're popping that taco.
Yeah, but Pup and Taco.
Pup and
like,
Taco.
Like hot dogs and
Pup and-
tacos.
Serious question. Does this chain still exist and can I go there?
I don't think so.
Fuck.
Yeah, defunct
Yeah.
as of 1984.
So before the movie came out,
Yeah.
we're fucked.
Fletch ruined it.
Yeah, maybe
Okay.
that was Fletch lamenting.
Guys, let's bring it back.
yeah. We can go buy a hot dog stand and call it a Pup and Taco.
Low overhead.
Well, he tells Stanwyk, like, sure, I'll kill you. And that kind of just ends the scene. And this starts Fletch's investigation. Honestly, this really intrigues me. I would gladly read this book. I love the mystery here. I love that Fletch is just like kind of thrown into this situation. And he's like, yeah, I'll totally do all these things. And immediately is like, oh my God, this is such bullshit. And this guy's full of it. And I'm going every which way to find out what's going on.
Well, he's a good reporter, and
Yes.
like clearly he's like, I can write about this somehow. So I mean, he leaned into it. I'd do the same thing.
Yeah, we get to meet a couple of the people that he works with at the newspaper. We get to-
Larry?
Yeah, and Frank.
Yeah, Larry and Frank.
Larry is Gina Davis, and she's like cute and perky and like all kind of nerdy. She has a very like bit role. She's only in like 2, maybe 3 scenes, like, but it's very, very brief. But like that's kind of the description. Like you don't really get to know her all too much. I mean, Gina Davis is always just kind of cute and perky, but there's like a super young version of her, and she's helping him find, on the microfiche, some of the published stories about Alan Stanwyk, and they find out he was like part of a cancer benefit, and he was working with his doctor. His name's Dr. Dolan. This is Emmett Walsh, who passed away this year. He was in a lot of movies. That's the doctor in this movie.
We've seen him in some stuff that we've
tons of stuff. Yeah, this guy's like just been in so many things, and that's the first order of business. He's going to go to this doctor and find out, and he goes to. We see Fletch's investigating system early on, and it's just asking a lot of questions, a little bit of disguises, a little bit of name changing, off the wall comments. And right here is he is Mr. Babar seeing Dr. Dolan, and it opens up like, oh, why are you here? He's like, oh, I go to the club with Alan Stanwyk. He recommended you. I'm having some kidney problems. And he's trying to really get some information out of Dr. Dolan. I do love this where he's like, Babar, that's a really strange name. Is that one B or two? And Fletch is like, it's just one B, B-A-B-A-R. He's like, that's two. He's like, but not in a row, not like what you thought. Like, no, never mind. And they highlights, he's like, isn't there a famous book series about this?
This is my favorite line of the movie.
Mike and I,
so many good lines of the movie.
Mike and I have talked about this. This is one of my mom's favorite lines of the movie. And it was, I don't know, like, I don't have any. Children? No, books about little elephants. Yeah, and then, there's a lot of other abrupt lines here. Where he gets a rectal exam while singing Moon River, or one of my favorite lines where he's like, so, seeing Alan, I think, whoa, using the whole fist doc? And we find out that Alan's probably not sick, and the doctor can't really give all too much information. And Fletch comes up with the idea that the only way he's going to get records is by going to a hospital records room. So he goes as a doctor.
Yeah.
As a doctor.
Dr. Rosenpenis.
Fletch immediately sees a plaque with a bunch of doctors' names, and it's all like Rosenberg, Rosenstein, like Rosen something. It's like all Rosen. Like there's literally like 7 different names that start with Rosen. And one of the nurses says, like, he purposely drops all these files, all his stiff dossiers, all over the floor, just spills it out. And she's like, oh, can I help you? Who are you? He's like, Dr. Rosen.
What was that? Dr. Rosen. My favorite line is the Babar one. My favorite running bit is him dropping the dossiers and saying a different Rosen name every time.
They really set up the joke. Wow.
Yeah.
When he walks in, there's a list of just Rosen doctors listed. So it makes it easy for him to pull off this joke. His whole shtick of pulling off jokes comes at the expense of some kind of slapstick and some kind of just quick wit. It kind of blends in together, and it's kind of like 90% of the comedy of this movie.
Right. It's like thinking on your feet mixed with luck, comedy, and ineptitude.
Would you guys say, like, when he adds that, it's like a little more like bit by bit, one way or another?
Here we go.
Fantastic.
Here we go. It is just like that.
Well,
he's looking for the records room.
And then he goes and he's in a room with a coroner who's like sawing some guy's spleen out or something.
Yeah. I love this scene, like, because the camera just focuses on Chevy Chase's face. It never leaves his face, but he is trying to
hold in vomit.
Looking at like a spleen being pulled out of a human body.
But even the other doctor's like, hilarious. Yeah, even the other doctor's like, oh, you never get used to that smell.
Yeah, he's like, oh yeah.
I'm not like, my hands aren't washed. Like, oh, you're not going to get this guy anymore sick.
I like the other doctor he's working with. It seems like he's been to other stuff. But
you'd just be used to it at that time. Fletch is now seeing a body just like fully opened in front of him. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Jeremy. Like the like shiver that runs through Fletch's body. You could just see like I'm holding back vomit, and good God, this is just not for me. And then he passes out, and then he wakes up. He's on a couch, and the nurse is like, "Oh my God!" He's like, "Oh, I thought that was my dead brother."
I thought that was my dead brother.
He's like, so the spleen was a spitting image, and she's like, "Oh my God!" And he's like, "I need a paper bag. I'm hyperventilating," because he sees that Dr. Dolan is in the room too, and he's like, "Oh my God!" And he's like, "I need to lay down." But luckily, he wakes up and he's in the records room and finds Alan Stanwyk's records. The nurse does come in. She's like, what the hell are you doing? He's like, oh, I was just going through some stuff. And he's kind of playing it off like, oh, I fainted. I don't know what's happening. But they go through the records together, and Alan Stanwyk does not have any cancer. She's like, the only time he was here is he had some moles removed. Everything's benign. And he's like, according to this hospital, he does not have cancer. She's like, yeah. He's like, great. Then leaves.
Yeah. He leaves to go now visit the club, the racquetball club,
right?
And the tennis club.
And the mystery, much like this gravy, is thickened.
How about that?
Well.
My mystery would thicken too if I saw this guy's wife.
Gail Stanwyk?
Yeah.
The Gail Stanwyk? You just need another one of those fly boys hitting.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck her name is, but she had it going on.
It was
It's Gail.
He saw her when they were first negotiating for his quote unquote fee. She was lounging on the whatever you call it, and by the poolside and looking really nice, and he was smitten by her beautiful appearance, and now he's about to creep up on her little tennis little deal, right?
Yeah, he saw her earlier when Alan invited him over, Chevy Chase that is, to explain the plan. She was sunbathing by the pool, and he was already like, oh, she's an attractive woman. And now he sees her playing tennis, and she is like the adorable goof. Yeah, she's like hitting balls everywhere. She like, it's like
She's barely hitting these balls.
yeah, it's like the first time, and that's part of her charm. Like, I get why anyone would be into this woman immediately. Like,
You know,
she's super cute.
Speaking of that, that's kind of my only problem with the plot of this movie / book is like, what's Stanwyk's fucking deal? Like he's an
Money. I think he wants money.
he has
Yeah, he
He
married
would trade
into
it-
a rich family.
right, like he married into a rich family.
But
He's
all the money is being controlled. This is later said by her dad.
sure.
He's like, she took her
Yeah,
own
Mike,
money.
I'm right there in your corner.
No,
on
but
this one
like, I mean,
because-
even so, like whether it's yours or your wife's, like you're an executive at like an aviation company.
Yeah.
You've got a hot rad wife. You live in a dope house in LA. And like,
well, he had a second family.
That's
I
the
think,
yeah, but
later
like
on.
his new wife is way hotter than
Oh
his
my
first
God,
wife.
yeah.
Well,
First
did we
of all.
ever see the other wife?
Just in a
picture.
picture, yeah.
Chevy,
So-
Chevy Chase said he could only love her for 8 to 10 minutes.
Right. So like he
enough.
effectively embezzled $3 million from his fake wife to go live with his real wife in a fucking
On a pig farm?
On a yeah, like dude, Stanwyk, bro, like just stop calling your other wife.
Well, I mean,
His current life in LA is way better than whatever he's going to, guaranteed.
yeah.
He would trade it all for a little more. That's his,
Yeah,
that's
would,
his
yeah.
deal. That's his deal.
He's a family man at heart. that
I
needs
guess.
to,
Like his in-laws are like inbred weirdos who can't make fucking lemonade.
Unusual
lemonade.
Most unusual lemonade.
They weren't his parents? I thought they were his parents.
Oh, those were his parents.
Those
I'm
were his
sorry,
parents.
Yeah.
They're
we-
fucked
yeah.
up.
Cut them out. You don't need that.
We don't know if her mom is Gail, that is, if she's alive or in the picture. We meet her dad.
Yeah,
and we
he
meet-
seems all right.
And we meet Stanwyk's mom and dad.
Yeah.
And we never meet the other woman.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I would have kept
she
my
seems-
LA life. I wouldn't have.
No,
done all this
Stanwyk really.
bullshit.
Yeah, he was an idiot.
Yeah, this all seems unnecessary.
He was a small town guy. He's got fucking scruples on like everyone in this room, evidently.
Not that many scruples. Actually, you know what? I don't have get away with murder money,
Yeah,
so
he's
I
got
can't
one
comment.
scruple, I guess. He just loves this girl.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say to Colin. Like, honestly, like, yeah, it's not scruples, but there is like some weird, like, villainous dedication that I'm like,
He loves his wife so much that he married someone else.
kind of. Well,
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
For money.
Yeah, this is for us.
well, the gist of what we're getting is she is clearly in the know on all of this because she's going to, like, uproot her life, go to, like, another place with him and $3 million. She's been seeing his family, various other things. So you have to assume.
Oh, you think she's a party to this?
I absolutely
Not that
do.
she's just like a
yeah,
fucking,
yeah,
a fucking moron who hasn't
I
picked
think
up on
Marianne Cavanaugh is absolutely like a partner in what's that. She might not know about like the fake murder stuff. Like, I would say, based on what we know about Stanwyk, he probably didn't tell her the plan, but he's probably like, I'm getting money. We're going to start a new life. And she's like, yes.
I guess she would have to know because, like, for the past X amount of years,
8 years, yeah.
he's been living with his other wife in L.A. and only seeing this person. He said he went back to Provo like every 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, she was a moron or she knew.
No, I think she knew. I think, again, I don't know if she knew the entire plan of, like, how Chevy Chase was involved, like Fletch. But I absolutely feel Kavanaugh was absolutely the partner.
So this is the long con. They marry, they're high school sweethearts, they marry, and she's like, you need to become a successful pilot, marry a cooler, hotter woman, embezzle money from her so that we can go to wherever the fuck we're going to go.
Yeah. Otherwise, we're going to have to live on this pig farm.
Yeah, otherwise, we're stuck in fucking Utah.
Yeah.
I've been to Utah.
Provo's fucking nice, dude.
Honestly, Salt Lake City is really nice as well. The other parts of Utah can suck ass.
Yeah. He's like an aviation CEO, and he doesn't have sufficient funds to live in Provo, Utah.
that actually tracks.
That's a fail right there. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of like weird stuff like that. Colin, I agree with you because like they do try to shut down some of this. We'll talk about this like very soon, where it's like Gail Stanwyk uses some of her own money and kind of gives it to Alan, and that's kind of like noted like this was legal. This wasn't like stocks that she used. Like she used her own money, converted that. This is like a gift
to buy this property in Utah.
But you would think like this dude is making probably serious bank on the side.
Right.
Like,
can we talk about this purchase for a second as well? So new wife Gail uses $3 million of her own money.
Well, let's just backtrack one for a second. Oh, yeah, I don't want to derail this. Let's kind of talk about this within. Let's talk about this within the investigation.
Okay.
Fletch is like now actively going to places, so like this will just be like noted to the audience.
Sure.
One of the many places he goes to Utah and finds out from this guy Jim Swarthout, who is one of the Daryls from Newhart.
Yeah. Also Sebastian from Blade Runner.
Yes.
Yeah.
That something is bogus here. Like, so she used what? Like, how much money?
$3 million.
$3 million bucks.
Okay. Now let's talk about why.
Okay.
I'll rephrase. Why?
It's there, and why not?
So like
she thought she was buying a ranch in Utah.
And she was just like, $3 million, great. That's
Well, I think he was kind of.
I don't need to see it.
Well, I think he's trying to know,
it's fine,
like-
whatever you want.
He was trying to know, like, for family and various other, not his parents,
Well, because she doesn't know his parents,
right? But like, for some weird purposes, and she was like, okay,
She seems like she's a trusting person. So she's probably like talking to her husband one night. He's like, listen, I've got this real estate proposition, $3 million bucks. She's like, fine,
Right.
I'll sell some stock in the family company. Here's $3 million bucks. Get this real estate thing.
and it seems like when
See it? No, I don't need to see it.
Well, it seems like-
paperwork. Nah.
Well, it seems like also when Fletch eventually part of the investigation leads to her father, like he's
For what?
her father, and he's Mr. Hoon.
It's Comanche Indian.
When he goes to investigate that, it seems like through all of this, it's the one thing he's ever asked for. And like maybe he's not asking for a lot of money. Like Stanwyk seems almost strategic.
That's a big way to ask for the first thing.
Well, I don't like. It seems like they've been married for some years, so it's just like now I have this investment. She's like, okay, well this guy's like never asked for anything, and he's like, yeah, like just invest your own money, and he gets a bogus deed. He actually pays like $3,000 instead of $3 million.
So they did mention that the warranty deed was a bogus deed. So it could have been that she went out and saw something. And was like, okay, let's buy this, and then what they actually bought was not that thing.
Right. It just seemed like it didn't seem like she had been to the property. Like
Well,
she didn't seem to have.
No,
the
she
grasp.
said in the movie, I think, that she had never been to Utah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and that's why I don't know. It seems
like way over trusting. I mean,
it seems like a big ask.
right. So like, the good chunk of us are married in this room. Like if our
wouldn't give your
significant
spouse $3
other
million?
had like millions of dollars,
Maybe.
and we're like, oh, I want to invest in this, you would think that other person would be like, I want to see it, but like, let me be more realistic. I don't even know if our significant other would be like, I need to see it. They'd be like, I have millions of dollars. I probably have enough contacts to be like, I'm going to get someone who knows what they're talking about to then go see it, not just me.
As a person who knows somebody and hangs out with somebody that has millions of dollars, they would immediately be like, yeah, that's fine. I'm just going to show this to my lawyer.
Great.
Yeah.
No problem.
That's exactly, they wouldn't make any decision. Their lawyers would make a decision and then they would move on.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Well, that's kind of my thought. It wouldn't be just the lawyer be like, I know someone in like property investment. They're going to go see it. Bye. And then when they're like, why are you trying to sell me $3,000 of like weird, like nothingness, like barren land,
bushes and desert.
So
I think later
there is
Chevy
a
Chase,
plot
like,
hole, but you know
sold it
what?
as a
Chevy
bush.
Chase, he's just a lovable guy in this movie.
I mean, I guess it's not that much of a plot hole. It's just every time I've watched this movie, that stood out to me as something that was odd. Like, that was the one thing that just kind of didn't align for me.
It's the MacGuffin.
Yeah, this isn't
Yeah.
like, like this guy married into the family. Not only did we get him like a cush job and he lives in a mansion, it's also like, I gave him like $3 million of property investment. It would seem more realistic as like, I bought him a really nice car.
Yeah.
like I have millions, so he wanted this car and I bought it for him. Not the $3 million property investment.
I guess the way I'm viewing this whole thing is like, his Kavanaugh's in on it, his actual wife. And it started out as like a group scheme. She's like, you're going to make some money. You're going to embezzle some shit. We're going to ride off into the sunset. And he got to LA and his life was like way better. And he's like, yeah, no, I'm still working on it, honey. Just a couple more years probably. Then we'll have it.
This new wife of mine, she's a real ball and chain.
Yeah, she's just not, man, she's a real hard ass. And all the while he's like, this is fucking dope.
She
this
just
is way
smiled.
better. And like eventually his wife was like, Alan, where's I'm going to call the cops, Alan.
Alan Thicke.
Well,
Alan
and
Thicke,
at some
yeah.
point, we're
That's
going
what
to
she called him in
connect
the bedroom.
this man to a drug running scheme, are we not?
That was a little too convenient for me, but I mean, it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we are going to do that. So I've derailed us so many times.
Not really. I mean, if we just kind of note, like, so at one point in time, Fletch goes to see Gail's dad, and that's what something to note. He disguises himself as Mr. Poon. He broke his nose. He's been a big weirdo.
That pederast Hammerhand is looking for a promotion. So
Gotta respect you. One of my favorite parts is on the way out, he tries to get a number and he tells the secretary, like, Rita lost the number and I need Jim Swarthout's number. She's like, okay. And who's Rita? He's like, I'm Rita's boss. Well, who's Rita? She's my secretary. And Poon is Comanche Indian. He disguises himself a little bit, like, so we find out that all this money that Gail did give was from her personal account and nothing's illegal. So like Gail doesn't know. Like, that's what Fletch is finding out. Like, Gail is not part of this, and Gail is like, what the hell's going on? Like, I live a cush lifestyle and daddy bankrolls me. I do have some money, but I'm not in for like nefarious deeds. Like, I don't know what the hell's going on. So another place that he goes to is eventually my favorite part. He goes to the airport hangar. And he highlights everything's done with ball bearings, one of my favorite parts of this entire film. And he's talking to some airline mechanics, and they're like, oh, yeah, this guy burns up Stanwyk, that is. He burns up all of his gas. He's going to South America. And I'm like, I ask him, like, what is he doing? Like, trick flying? He just gives me that look. That look. So Fletch is like, why the hell is he in South America? And where's all this fuel going? What's going on? Then we're also finding out that the cops are somewhat involved. We get the Chief Collin involved. He's picking up Gummy. We later find out that Gummy is given drugs by Chief Collin and crooked cops. He will give it to Fat Sam, who is Norm from Cheers. And then Fat Sam only gets a little bit of drugs, but he doesn't get any kind of financial kickback. Gummy, I assume, is the same. They're both really like indentured servants to the police who are running all these drugs. Where are the drugs coming from? Stanwyk is picking up drugs. He's giving it to the cops. They're distributing it on the beach.
On the deserted beach.
Yeah. A whole ring is going, and that's kind of the backdrop of this. And then at some point in time, I know we were talking about that. We saw Gail at the club. And this is where we get the whole debacle that Chevy Chase hears from a real disgruntled and jerk of a customer and member. Mr. Underhill is berating the staff. So Chevy Chase starts putting everything on the Underhill's tab. He orders a Bloody Mary, a steak sandwich, and a steak sandwich.
2 steak sandwiches.
And
Hell
put $30 down for yourself.
Well, that was on the first visit. On the return visit,
$20 for each of the members.
I think where we're at, he's ordering like a couple bottles
Lobsters.
of Dom. How's the lobster thermidor? Oh, it's excellent, sir.
I definitely recommend it.
Highly recommend it.
Like that caviar is $80 a serving.
I better
well,
get
you better
get
stick
two.
with two then.
That beluga.
Two bottles of Dom.
I better just get 2.
Baby beluga.
Was that a Raffi joke?
It was, yeah.
Deep blue sea.
Baby.
Swim so wild and swim so free.
God damn it.
It's the heavens above and the sea below. You're a little white whale on the go.
Oh, this podcast.
I could fuck with Raffi.
Is this happening? Is this happening right now?
I guess so.
This is like an elementary
This is turning my nightmare.
music class. Yeah.
Yeah.
Colin's just wearing a robe now.
Why do
Yeah,
I know so many Raffi lyrics? No one knows.
Mike's got it on his forearms tattooed.
Yeah.
I do, yeah.
That's how we know the lyrics, because it's tattooed on Mike's back.
Right. My shirt's off right now and everyone's just reading me.
That's hard.
They're like Russian mob tattoos, but it's all just children's lyrics.
It's Raffi lyrics as he walks.
It's like, you can just feel the emotion. We just stare deep into Mike's eyes, and Raffi lyrics just come to us.
In his eyes, look at his back. That's where the lyrics are.
It's time for an ab reading from Mike.
That's right. The one that I have has all the lyrics.
All
on
right, put your shirt back on so we can get back to this.
it. Okay, so
Well, at one point in time, Fletch does go back to the beach, and they do pick up Gummy. As I noted and kind of spoiled already, that Gummy has been running some of the drugs through the chief. And Fletch realizes that Gummy's been saying a lot of true things, and the police are really gunning for Gummy. So they pick him up. Fletch tries to intervene. One cop just gets out and kind of kicks him. Fletch picks up a rock, throws it through the back window, and they don't stop. And another guy on the beach is like, "Oh man, you're lucky." He's like, "It's not luck. Like they really are into something." Later, they pick up Fletch.
Man,
Soon.
they're really after Gummy.
Take him to the downtown.
I think that one of the only in-betweens we see is Fletch does meet his ex-wife's lawyer. I love this guy.
That's funny.
this is a throwaway scene that I'm assuming is only there because it was in the books and maybe setting up like some lore. But this scene is great.
Yeah, I love the lawyer, and he comes in and he's like, "Fletch, I have to wait for you at the most opportune times. Like, you're ditching me, and I need money." And I love the interactions, like the real truth that comes out of this lawyer. He's like, "Yeah, man, my wife is like living with another guy, and this is bullshit." He's like, "I believe you, but that I'm her lawyer and she pays me." He's like, "I should have got another lawyer. My lawyer was a bum." He's like, "Oh, I agree." He's like, "My wife was sleeping with everyone, maybe even that guy." He's like, "Yeah, I think you're right." He's like, "Oh my God." And he's like, "Well, if you don't start paying me, I'm going to have to garnish your wages." And I do like Fletch goes, "I don't like my wages garnished." And so he does give him $1,000, and that's what Stanwyk gave him.
I don't know the guy's name, but it's Colonel Sanders from Spaceballs.
Yes.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like that Fletch is like, "Open up your trench coat and I'll give it to you." He owes him like $900 something, and he's like, "Apply the difference to the the next payment," and stuff like that. So that's good. And at this point in time, Fletch has a dream. He's watching a Lakers game, and he dreams that he's one of the members of the Lakers. I love Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is being interviewed. He's like, "Oh my God, Fletch is a team player. This gritty kid from Harlem like really brings the spirit of the game." I can't remember the exact inches, but it was like Fletch, Irwin M. Fletch, like 5'5" with normal, 5'9" with the afro. Real team player. And then at some point in time, he's like shaking off like 5 dudes, and he just like goes and tries to bite someone's forearm and his paws on that.
Just love the afro on him on this too.
It's strong, yeah.
Yeah. And then later, the police eventually pick him up. They plant some heroin on him, and the chief wants to talk to him. The chief gives him a huge line of bullshit, like, "Oh, we've got cops all over this beach. This is, we got an undercover mission. You're ruining all this shit." And Fletch is like, "Okay, like that's cool." And the chief's like, "Okay, so you get it." He's like, "Yeah. So it's Collin with a K, right?" And then he gets really tough with him. And I love that he's got this wall of all, like the chief of like all these famous people he met. He's like, "Chief," the Fletch says this. "I was at you and Tommy Lasorda?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I hate Tommy Lasorda," and just like punches the frame. And that's after he tells the 2 cops that dragged him in to go pump each other at the gym. And then they ask him his name, like name, Fletch, full name, Fletch F. Fletch, occupation, I'm a shepherd. The chief is not in for this, and then takes him to a cell and loads a gun and says, "I'm just going to kill you." And Fletch is like, "We don't do this." Talks his way out of it. He's like, "Come on, I'll just stick to my other story, off-track betting in the Himalayas. A smaller story, but I know you've been following it." The chief does let him go, thinking he's scared straight that he's not going to follow up on this, but immediately continues to follow up on the story.
I mean, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Yes.
This scene.
Fletch at
that
Fletch.
scene. Yeah, the chief is like, "All right, I'll let you go. There's no way that this guy's going to cause any more trouble."
Isn't one of the cops that picks him up the voice of Shredder from the Ninja Turtles cartoon?
Mr. Banks, Will Smith's dad, or Uncle Banks.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Shredder.
Uncle Shredder Banks.
Uncle Shredder.
Turtle stew. He's gonna put Will in a turtle stew.
I like that. That's even better.
Yeah. Sometimes you gotta eat it with a little side of krang.
Italian.
I love eating Italian. Italian is delicious.
I was just at the mall the other day. That's where I went. Italian.
Yes. I was like,
Yeah,
they're like, "What can I get for you?" I was like, "Appetizer and entree. Italian, please."
It really is the premier restaurant to go to. Italian.
Yeah. It was really authentic. They poured the beverage into my hands.
Drink, my son.
Yeah. Mike got the full breadstick. I don't know what that means. He didn't want to talk about it after.
They made me go into the back room to take it.
Yeah.
To take the breadstick.
How much of it did you take?
It was
That's the
unlimited,
body
so
of
a
Christ.
lot.
I have a real story about an Italian restaurant. My dad was in town, and we went to an Italian restaurant, and Mike was there. And it was me, my wife, and Mike, and my dad. And we took him out for his birthday. And at one point in time, I saw my wife like kind of look alarmed, and I looked up, and Mike and my wife were laughing because we heard just like a spill to the floor. It was like, psst, like someone pissing on the floor. And we realized the waiter... or the busboy, I should say that was clarified. The busboy, who this must have been like week 2 of the job, was pouring a pitcher of water directly to the floor. Like trying to get to a glass. It was not like at all. Like there was no water going in a glass, and was spilling a stream of water directly to the floor.
It was like
Once
in a
you
movie
start
when
pouring,
someone's
you can't
distracted by like a babe and it just overfills the glass. That's what was happening.
Yeah, this was not going on for just like a second.
No, it was constant.
It was like half the pitcher went to the floor.
Distracted by a babe.
Yeah, distraction knife, Colin.
Yeah.
What?
I'll pour this water right to the floor.
That's where it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes babes distract,
Yeah.
It happens. I don't know what I think.
Yeah. No one
Why would
knows.
you?
We all got distracted by a babe.
Yeah.
Nobody knows my sorrow.
Guys, there's a babe in here.
It's one of the tats on Mike's abs.
I'll put my shirt back on. I'm sorry.
That's a babe.
Well, from Chief Carlin, the next place we're going to go to is the airport, and we find out that Stanwyk has checked in, and he's checked in like Marianne Cavanaugh, and that's like his guest on the plane, and this is super weird. So then Fletch goes back to the club. This is where he orders 2 bottles of like champagne, 2 lobsters, I think some caviar, gives everyone $20 tips. He does knock on the door to Gail. She is only wearing a robe because she just got, or towels only because she just got the shower.
It's a towel.
He's like,
Hey, can I borrow your towel?
yeah, my car just hit a water buffalo.
I laughed at that.
It's part of her cuteness, the charm of Gail. I really don't know who this actress is. I don't know if I've seen her in other shows.
I looked her up.
She
Yeah.
hasn't been in a lot.
Yeah, I remember I looked her up and it was like very brief things. I like that, like he's kind of direct, like a little into this lunch. He's like, well, why did you even answer the door? Because she knows it's not John Cocktoastin, the name he gave earlier. He's not he's not
She
who he
wants
says.
the rose and penis.
She does want the rose and penis.
And she just kind of goes, I'm bored. Like, I wanted to see where this is going. And there's kind of like this weird charm to it because clearly she's being ditched by her husband. She knows something's weird, but she's not really like revealing this to Fletch. But I mean, I don't blame her. She doesn't really know
She's
him.
revealing other things.
Yeah, things are going to get revealed. Like, hey, like Mr. Underwood shows up and he's like, I got to sneak out. And she goes, why don't you take one of my husband's suits? You're pretty much the same build. And that's kind of a nod to something else that happens later. I'm sure waist up only, but Mr. Underhill is super pissed. A $400 bill. This is outrageous.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Paul. I do like her attitude toward this whole thing. I'm bored. This is exciting. I just want to see where this goes. You just came into here and you're just making jokes, and I'm all up for it. And she is Dana Wheeler-Nicholson. Is that her name? I was kind of curious as to if she was related to Jack Nicholson somehow, or I don't know. I just saw that. I'm like,
She was in an episode of Seinfeld, which I think is the only other thing I recognize.
That's the only other thing
She was Wyatt Earp's wife in Tombstone.
I don't.
Well,
I mean, I've seen Tombstone, but that I don't.
She's a rapper.
That's not what
When
I
you
was
think
connection.
Maddie
Wow.
Earp, you think her.
Yeah, old Maddie Earp.
Just depressed, like crying lady in the movie.
Wow.
That has nothing to do with
Damn.
that.
Wow. Two totally different characters there.
When you Earp, you're not derp.
I've heard that.
Is that a saying? We should.
No, that's
Is there a
we're
new
not,
T-shirt?
That's not getting on the T-shirt.
That's the cost of the T-shirt.
When you Earp, you derp.
Our unpaid graphic designer did mention to me that she's ready for more T-shirt designs.
All right, let's
and I told her that we had a lot of good ideas, but I would have to listen to the podcasts because I never write them down, and I have a terrible memory.
Yeah, and we have a lot of bad ideas
And
too.
some of them might be bad.
praise the maze.
Praise the Maze is good. I'll back that one up.
It
It feels like it's taken.
when I tried to explain to her what that was, it didn't. Because she wants some kind of inspiration. She wants to,
Jeremy, I don't
roll
think-
with
Is
it.
that when
Jeremy-
you showed her the big beef?
I was just
yeah.
gonna say, Jeremy, I don't think he was explaining with the big beef.
I wasn't. I'm sorry. I wasn't
you have
explaining with the big
you have
beef.
to start with the big beef, Mike.
But like when you're talking to an artist and you're trying to give them context, she's like, okay, praise the maze. Is that a line from a movie? It's like, it is not. Like, what does it mean? Like, I don't really know. She's like, well, what are you talking about? Like, I'm not sure.
You say hashtag big beef. You walk out of the room.
You mentioned
beef is
corn
easier
at
to
all in
design.
that context. I feel like that's the connection.
Jeremy, I think he's censoring our conversations, and I don't think he's once mentioned Candy Cane Killer.
Yeah.
Fucking say that and die.
I will burn my house down if those words ever get uttered in it.
That's fair. That's
Yeah.
definitely fair.
So we'll have to keep better track of T-shirt ideas. But Wyatt Earp the derp.
I wasn't even going to go that far. I was just going to go Earp the Dirt.
Wyatt Earp the
That would have been good for me. I would have bought 3 T-shirts right then
Okay.
and there.
Listeners, let us know what you want from this.
Don't you remember
Yeah,
the
right
classic
in.
T-shirt idea from the movie Fletch?
Well, that's how all of these conversations go. It's like, did anyone in this movie say this? Like, no.
No.
All you do is you look at her, Mike, and you go.
I have it loaded on my phone.
You print that on a T-shirt. I don't know how you would put that on a T-shirt, but that would
It's just going to be
Zeros.
Chevy Chase with that Band-Aid on his nose and a little speech bubble that says "Earp the Dirt."
Oh, that is perfect.
Right?
You sold me.
Done.
You
Okay.
sold me.
All right. If you're listening, unpaid graphic designer, she doesn't listen to the show.
Damn it.
If you are, make that shirt for me.
Mike,
You just need to convince her that it's all done with ball bearings.
I'm going to do this on the
Yeah.
air, Mike.
We've had the conversation about ball.
Seriously, I really wanted to get you a shirt for your birthday that said, I'm with the Underhills. I looked it up and I thought, I think you would know that quote. Earp the
would.
dirt. You would know that quote.
And I could go for a steak sandwich.
And a steak sandwich.
And a steak.
I feel like quotes like that are kind of universal to the Rapid Troop Sucks community.
It's true.
We get it.
That's why we love you guys.
One of the many other places Fletch visits is he meets Stanwyk's parents. He goes to Provo, Utah, and he meets the parents.
Big farm.
And they give the biggest reveal. He's like, I'm from an insurance company, and this may seem weird.
Harry
I just-
Truman.
Yeah, my name's Harry Truman, which is kind of like this brilliant ploy. They're like, oh, the president. He's like, my parents were big fans. He's like, oh, there is a great president. Like, he's already got his in.
Yeah, the father is really excited about the murder of a lot of people.
A lot of the Japanese.
People.
Not one bomb, two. Yeah, he got them good.
He unusual that lemonade real quick. You know what I mean.
Oh, wow.
But the parents open up. They're like, insurance, blah, blah, blah. And, Fletch is asking what seems to be stupid questions.
Well, he's asking kind of leading questions, but in Fletch's mind, he thinks he's trying to get information about the wife that he knows.
But they reveal Marianne Cavanaugh is the wife, and they've met her many times.
Oh,
He's like,
yeah.
boy,
Lovely
what's
lady.
wrong with you? Like, that's his wife, and he dotes on her. He would never do that. He's like, oh, just, we must have it just wrong in our files. So he's putting this together like he's, got multiple wives.
Their wedding picture is strong, by the way.
Oh yeah,
The thumbs up, yeah.
Stanwyk looks like he just won Pac-Man at the arcade. Yeah, so yeah, he's a bigamist. So we learned that the real wife, Gail, or the other wife, I should say, Gail, has been investing money. She doesn't know why. This is mysterious. She's not in any of this. And Fletch then kind of puts some things together, and he then goes back to the beach. He tells Gummy that he's a reporter. Gummy is going to turn against the chief. So
He's dressed as roller skating Jesus.
I love
right
this.
now, by the way. Yeah.
I like this. Best disguise.
He's like Cat Stevens with
Oh,
roller
yeah.
skates.
Well, the cat's in the cradle.
Yeah.
So he gets Gummy and he gets Fat Sam to come into the newsroom. They basically give him asylum. They're going to, they've written statements against the chief on how they're basically enslaved to do this and being blackmailed to do this. Or, Fat Sam's like, I either did this or I was going to go to prison for 15 years. Like, what was I supposed to do? So that's okay. The Frank, who, is the chief of the reporter or the paper, he is like a great, Fletch is like, I'm going to write everything, but give me until 10 because I need to write the last 2 paragraphs. So then he goes to Stanwyk's house. He checks out the car that he's supposed to get away with. The whole trunk is filled with gasoline canisters. He is wearing the suit that Gail gave him, and he walks in, and Stanwyk's like, hey, man, I'm going to shoot you. And he's like, well, before you shoot me, you should read this letter. And Stanwyk immediately, this is like, where did you get my suit? And he's like, well, I don't have time for this shit. Why don't you just come down and talk to me? There's a lot of shit you don't know. I do like that this blows up in Stanwyk's face immediately. This is a good turn of events for me.
It is. One, eagle eye on Stanwyk. You're wearing a navy blue suit.
Yeah.
It's mine, clearly.
And Stanwyk's wearing the Mike Magic Johnson jersey that Fletch has been wearing.
Yeah, he's got the Lakers jersey
going
on.
on. The whole movie.
But
because he wants to leave as Fletch, or he wants to leave as Ted Nugent, who he thinks he's going to be.
Right. He's going to take his passport, Fletch's passport.
Also, Stanwyk is from Animal House, which is crazy. Because in that he plays a very different person.
Yeah, I see that. I spotted that.
That's fair. But things don't really go his way, though. He reads the letter. He's a little alarmed.
Then his wife comes in.
And then his hotter second wife comes in.
And that's where he explains the suit. He's like, there's something your wife said when we're in bed together. She said, kind of out of curiosity, something that I remember was, we have roughly the same build. I'm sure waist up. And
I love the look that the wife gives Stanwyk.
Yeah, like a big screw you.
Right. It's not. There was no embarrassment or wah wah. It was just yeah, I fucked him. What?
Yeah. I know everything that's happening. You have another wife. You're going to kill this guy. You're running away with money that I gave you. Go to hell, dude.
Sedgwick kind of gives it back because as he's reading the letter, he understands that the wife is involved, and he's like, whatever. I'm just going to keep with the letter because I got to get with my shit.
Yeah. So Alan pulls this kind of fun move. He's like, so here's a problem with your plan. I was planning to kill you anyhow. I'm going to, and I'm also going to kill Gail, my second wife. And Fletcher's like, oh, whoops. And she's like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, well, he's like, your letter doesn't go out for later. I'll have a head start and I'm just going to get out of here. So I'm going to
This changes nothing.
Oh,
But then the police chief walks in. Carlin walks in. I love
Does
Fletch's.
he walk into the window, by the way?
There's a
That's
back
how
door.
Fletch got there.
Yeah, there's a back open door or something. Okay. And I love Fletch's reaction. He's like, it's the police.
Oh, good.
Yay.
Yay.
Because this is not helpful whatsoever. And Stanwyk is like, what's going on, Carlin? He's like, I heard you're going to leave, bro. This doesn't go well.
Yeah. It does not. He's a fucking cop. He can know things.
So anyway,
Or hear them.
He starts blasting.
Yeah, he does start
This is
blasting.
anticlimactic for me.
Yeah,
It kind of is.
This ending is
It is.
fucking nuts.
The ending happens real fast.
This movie could be 15 minutes longer and actually wrap shit up, but it does not.
Stanwyk's killed. The police
Yeah.
chief kills him.
There you go.
Accurate. What happens to the police chief?
He goes to jail.
No, I know, but like in the scene, do they just book it? I don't remember.
No, so he pulls the gun on Fletch, and
she hits him with a tennis
Gail
racket.
hits him with a tennis
That's
racket,
right.
and he gets knocked out.
Yeah.
And then we're back
that's
in
it.
we're basically back in the newsroom, and they kind of fill us in, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is an award-winning story." Fletch is like, "Well deserved. I'm going to take this vacation that I was promised."
Back in the 80s when airplane tickets were transferable.
Sure. Gail's like, "I'm going to come with you." He's like, "No problem." Yeah, Frank, the chief at the paper, is like, "Great job. I always knew you had it in you." Fletch is like, "No, you didn't. You're full of shit, but like, I'll take it." Larry is super excited. Gina Davis, she's like, "We did it." And
She just wants to be part. She wants to watch.
Yeah.
maybe,
I feel
or-
like Gina Davis wants to
love-
bone Fletch.
She
too.
probably-
I'm
What-
thinking
oh, 100%
both
Gina
those
Davis
on
wants to
vacation,
bone
dude.
Fletch.
she probably got a piece of cake or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, she got a pizza party.
Even if she didn't, she knows how to promote herself within an organization. Mm-hmm. Good for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, give yourself a man's name so on emails it looks legitimate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you're on your way.
Yeah, we find out at the end that, Alan Stanwyk is totally dead.
Yeah.
The chief is going to prison for maybe up to 20 years.
A little bit, yeah.
Like, people are dead. Like, he like, on
Well,
top
he did
of...
murder someone.
Bro, that was so note this. He murdered someone.
An important person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not one of us normies.
So he's going to prison for
A
20 years.
CEO.
On top of like
That's
a
a big
crazy
deal.
drug trade, running crooked cops, various other things. But 20 years. He'll be out.
It's fine.
That's now. He's out now.
Yeah.
He was
out 20 years ago.
He's been out.
That's true, yeah.
He's been out and angry.
He's
Out
already
and
built up a better drug trade.
Yeah, better empire. He learned from his mistakes while in there.
Yeah, now they clean up the beach as they go, so it doesn't look so shitty.
Yeah.
So he's doing good now,
Yeah.
probably for society.
Yeah. So at the end, we hear a little more narration. We hear Fletch highlight that he tried to explain basketball to Gail, and she didn't really get it. But in the bedroom, she thinks he's a hero and he's number one. And if you ever need any kind of vacation tips or any food or anything, put it on Underhill's bill. Credits roll, one way or another, bit by bit.
That's it.
Well, before we get to our final reviews of Fletch, 1985, as always, feel free to reach out to us, rabbittroopsuckspodcast@gmail.com. If there's any movie you have a recommendation that you would like us to review, or a suggestion, or anything, isolated sound clips, if you just need to hear or so, are you recording this? Never. Anything, feel free to reach out to us, rabbittroopsuckspodcast@gmail.com. Our website is rabbittroopsucks.com proper. Feel free to listen to our episodes there or see any kind of links to pictures or merchandise. But as always, we are playing everywhere sound clips, everywhere that podcasts are available, which includes our website. It includes Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, that podcast app on my iPhone, and pretty much everywhere else. So if you're on one platform and you're platform curious, jump on over. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. Fletch 1985, 40th anniversary, keeping going with this. Super fun movie on my end. I know, some of you have not seen it for a while, and some of you are seeing this for the first time, but yeah, again, Gregory MacDonald was the author of this. Unfortunately passed away 2008 at 71. Wrote 9 Fletch books that did not include Son of Fletch and other characters that he wrote in other series. But what did everyone think about this? Jeremy, what did you think of Fletch? You haven't seen it in ages. 1985, 40th anniversary.
Yeah, so I've always heard that Chevy Chase was just like a big bitch to work with. And he may be. But there is something to be said about connecting quality directors with comedic actors that know how to interact and develop comedic timing. I really enjoyed Chevy Chase's like comedic mumblings throughout this film. How he kind of like integrates himself into situations and gets himself out of situations or through situations through just random musings. But the way that the comedic timing works, it's very well done. Again, there are some plot holes in this movie. That's fine. It's a 90-minute movie from 1985. So that's just some of the things you're going to get. I really enjoyed this movie. I enjoyed watching it again, and I will probably go and revisit like the next one, Fletch Lives.
Much different.
Probably
film.
with before this winter break is over.
Very different film.
Well, it makes me want to explore it because this one was good.
Nice. La-Mar, what are you thinking?
Jeremy, you just mentioned, just like you, have you ever seen Fletch Lives?
I think I have, but I don't remember any of it really.
I have never seen that movie, and I feel like I would kind of want to go explore that movie. And also the novels. I had no idea there were 9.
Yeah.
That is outrageous. In my head, I was always thinking 3. And as a fan of mystery novels and stuff like that, I would be a fan. I would go out and I would research some of those Fletch novels. But I love this movie so much. There's not much I could say about it that is detrimental to it being bad. It's a good movie for me. And it reminds me of, I'm a huge Marx Brothers fan. And this movie reminds me of a Marx Brothers film. And the Marx Brothers films, all of them, are pretty much just 4 brothers just getting into shit and exploiting it and just going with it and utilizing it to get over whatever whatever obstacle they have to overcome in the movie. This feels like a Marx Brothers movie, except there's only one, and it's Chevy Chase, and he's playing the role of Groucho Marx, which is just like one Marx Brother. So it feels like watching a Marx Brother movie with just one Marx Brother, and I kind of they work off of each other, but if you have to have one, which is Groucho Marx, the main Marx Brother, I think Chevy Chase and the way he delivers his puns and just he mumbles to himself, and Jeremy, you said it, that he has these little jokes to himself and they keep going. It's kind of like that. And the movie is just bizarre in that way. The way he trails off with his jokes, it just feels like a one-man Marx Brothers movie to me, and I kind of like it for that. I have no real opinion on Chevy Chase. I only know him from 3 movies, really.
And Community.
Community, this, and National Lampoons. And all of those, I just like him in. And for that, I can't really hate him. I don't know what other people think about Chevy Chase as a person, but I just think his comedic delivery is just great, and that makes this whole movie. The whole movie is just that. It's just him and his delivery, and I love it for that. The comedic experience for this movie is really good for me.
What'd you think, Collin? First time.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of like you guys said, I really, really liked it. I think the ending leaves a little bit to be desired, but as far as like, I barely took any notes because I just kind of wanted to like see what's happening next. It was a super good mystery. Like, I think that the reveals were done really well as far as like, what happened next. When coming into the movie, like, I didn't really know anything about it. I didn't realize that he was supposed to be. I thought this was supposed to be a cop movie. I didn't realize he was like an investigative reporter. So I really didn't know anything coming into this.
That's interesting.
So like everything was kind of like a welcome surprise as it came. I really loved Chevy Chase in this. Like, he kind of just felt like, the same character that all Chevy Chase characters are, but it felt more like it was like he was supposed to be in this role, not like he was trying to like pigeonhole himself into it. It felt supernatural. Yeah, I really liked it. I loved Gail, like you guys said. She reminded me of like so many people that like I've known throughout my life, that I just adored her immediately.
You're just down the clown.
Yeah, and I really liked it, and I would totally, I'd totally visit the sequel or the remake.
I've never seen that, like Fletch Lives. I would like to see that
maybe
too.
it's
And
time.
the remake that's coming along.
It is time.
I think the remake is
probably-
better than the sequel.
Yeah. I have not seen the remake,
Really?
but I bet you it's going to be better than the sequel.
Damn. How about that?
Mike, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, you picked this movie for a reason for my birthday. This movie's great. Since we're talking about what a big piece of shit Chevy Chase is, I'll just pile on that a little bit. It kind of bums me out that he's so like unliked in Hollywood. I mean, fired from Community, where he was easily the best part.
That's crazy.
I know. Wait, that I think that, or that he was fired from Community?
That you think that.
That he was the best part of Community?
Yeah.
He was so good in Community.
He was good.
Yeah.
The best part is crazy.
He stole every scene that he was in. He was the best part of. Anyway, for me, I mean, Chris Columbus was slated to direct Christmas Vacation, but quit because of Chevy Chase, and went on to direct Home Alone, which
I just read that
probably for the
other
best
day.
in the grand scheme of things. But like no one likes working with this guy, which is a huge bummer for me because like he has brought me nothing but joy. I mean, his timing, his delivery, like his physical comedy is amazing. Chevy Chase is great to me, and it sucks that no one likes him. But yeah, this movie's just start to finish fun. Like, I've never read the books. I probably never will. But like, it's a reasonably good story. I'd like to think that the story is a little bit tidier in the books, and that things were kind of dropped out just for filming considerations, and that's fine. I mean, we complained about plot holes, and I know I bitched about a lot of stuff, but none of it detracts from the movie. The movie is still awesome, start to finish. It still makes sense. It's still a strong plot. Everyone in this movie is great. All the side characters are played really well. Chevy Chase is amazing. Like, it's fun. It's interesting. Like, there's actually a mystery that you can kind of get involved with. This movie's great for me. I've seen it a million times. I'll see it a million more. The second movie is rough. The remake is decent.
Yeah, Fletch Lives is going to be a rough go for you guys.
Wow.
I haven't seen it in ages, but it is definitely like a turn from this movie.
I think I've seen it twice, maybe.
But I agree with Mike on this. Like, the mystery like really gets me involved with all this. I mean, there's scenes we didn't even talk about where Fletch steals a car and then goes to like this like VA awards. Fred the Door
when he
Horseman,
steals
hug
the
a cop.
Porsche.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an Alfa Romeo. Thank you very much. There's a couple scenes. One of my favorite quotes from the movie we didn't even talk about. Moved out.
Oh yeah, yeah. Going to Kavanaugh's house.
It's not worth getting back into, but we skipped a lot.
Yeah, there's like Godfather quotes.
Yeah.
This movie is a ton of fun. This is Chevy Chase for me in his prime. This is like just a start to finish great movie. He was 100% well cast. He was born to play this role. I would love to see the John Hamm newer version of Fletch. I love John Hamm. I think this would be a good cast.
It's on Paramount Plus.
Yeah, I should watch this totally at some point in time. I was telling these guys, there was rumors at one point in time Kevin Smith was going to make a version and Jason Lee was going to star as Fletch. I thought that could have worked well.
Jason Sudeikis as well after that.
Yeah, that's right. There was a Jason
This movie
Sudeikis.
went through a lot of revisions.
Yeah. I definitely think this movie could be watched alone or in a group. There's totally amazing one-liners. The mystery really gets you involved. Again, Chevy Chase was great in this. Again, to our friend Mike, who used to watch this movie with me, hopefully you get to listen to this episode. But yeah, Fletch is definitely a classic 85 movie, 40th anniversary. Hell yeah. We're going to keep that train going through these months of this year. But, you know, any last words on Fletch? Anything anyone wants to say for a Fletch kind of good time?
I don't think it was a missed opportunity, but there's a lot of guest stars: Gina Davis, George Wendt, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, which I think if he went to lend his acting talents, maybe could have put more into it. Yeah. But yeah, there's some guest stars in this role that
for sure
could have stood out a little bit more.
George
but whatever,
didn't get the chance to be funny, which is kind of a bummer.
Too. Yeah,
I mean,
he was a major.
I
won't say a major character, but yeah, it could have brought him up.
I mean, he was a major part of the plot, although he wasn't a major character. But I mean, he was good. But George Wendt is funny, and he was not funny.
No one said Norm the whole time.
I wanted to.
That's true. I wanted to as well.
Next week, we're going to hit you up with some Lunar New Year fun. We're going to be looking at Kung Fu Hustle 2004, Year of the Snake. So happy Lunar New Year. We'll be talking about that. But yeah, we'll be getting back at you. As always, Rabbit Troop sucks. dude.
Does Fletch fucking live have that goddamn tune in there?
If it doesn't, I ain't watching.
Fuck y'all.